Hey, David A. Wilson.
Hey, you guys, great to be with you.
We are live on Family Life Insta Facebook. That's you. And Instagram. And are we on Twitter? No, we're not on Twitter.
But we're excited that we can talk to you, that we can be with you.
Yeah, we're actually in Michigan right now. I don't want to bring this up, but Michigan just beat Ohio State. Pretty big deal. Did you know? Did you know it was the most watched football game in all of sports?
No, I didn't. Is this what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah.
Football?
Only the Super Bowl was bigger, but we're not going to talk about football. It's Giving Tuesday, and so it's a pretty incredible day because you think about Black Friday this weekend. Did you go out and shop?
No.
Good. That's good.
Only on Amazon.
That means you did shop.
I totally did.
It's the same thing. But I mean, you think of this country, we spend all this money on gifts, which is awesome. And so Giving Tuesday is sort of the opposite of that. As you come a few days later and you're like, we want to be generous and we want to help ministries that are making a difference, like Family Life. And so today we get to talk a little bit about Family Life and some of the great things that we're doing as a ministry, many things you probably don't even know about. So we're going to bring in some people to join us from all around the country. Technology is an amazing thing. And first of all, we're going to bring Shelby Abbott in. Shelby is our host of Real Life Loading. And if I don't get this right, I'm pretty sure he's somewhere in Pennsylvania. Shelby is joining us. Pennsylvania?
That's right outside of Philly.
What happened to Penn State this weekend? They won, didn't they?
I do not care.
Okay, here do I.
College football. I am a Virginia Tech Hokie, and I followed it for several years after I graduated, and my heart was disappointed every single time because we made it to the championship. I actually went to the championship, and it ruined my perspective. So I don't care anymore.
I know I'm the feeling of losing, Shelby. I know what that feels like. did it many years with the Lions. Anyway, Shelby, some people don't know yet what Real Life Loading is. It's somewhat new. Give us a little update on what Real Life Loading is.
Yeah, it's a new endeavor that Family Life has done in order to try to reach a younger audience. So in many ways, Family Life is so good at being able to deliver gospel-centered content to people who need it, but there's a lot of people who weren't listening. And that group of people was technically, 18 to 30-year-olds or so. And so I was brought on to Family Life because I've been in campus ministry for 20 years to try to reach a younger demographic, to take all the great things that is going on in Family Life and push it to a younger audience. And so we started a podcast specifically for 18 to 28-year-olds, and it launched in early September. So I'm real thrilled about it. We've had a weekly release of the podcast every single Friday. It comes out and it airs on radio on the weekends as well. And so it's been a thrill to be able to do what we're doing. And I love being able to take the best of what we're doing in Family Life and custom make it for a younger audience. I don't think they can hear me on Instagram.
That's what I'm hearing.
But I don't know how to alter that. I feel like our social media expert, Barbara, has been trying to walk her grandparents through email for the first time. That's what I feel like.
She's telling me to accept you on Instagram. I'm like, how do
I
do
guys,
that?
How's it going?
So it's your fault, Dave. That's what it is.
It's always our fault.
They can't hear Shelby?
No, they can't hear Shelby, but give us a second, guys.
Is it my
they
fault?
can't hear
Is it
you
our
over
fault?
your dot matrix printer. That's basically what they can't hear. It's
I
just too loud.
don't even know what dot matrix means. Actually, I was in college and they took me to a computer room that had hard drives as big as this house. I am not kidding. Like, this is the future. It took up like half the building. And now we have them on little phones that we got to push a button. Am I supposed to push a button?
Yeah. You are supposed to push a button. Yes.
Lift your phone out of the...
No.
On your phone, yeah.
It's on the bottom.
I know, the plus button?
Yes. Shelby is going to request, or you're going to send a request.
Accept. I'm accepting
accepted.
everybody.
And he's on.
I'm
All right, I'll get out
accepted.
the way now.
It says I accepted, but I don't know if I did.
There we go. Yeah. Whoa. It's there. I see your head.
Oh, you
The
couldn't
top
even
of your
see me
head.
before?
No, I
This-
couldn't
this-
because I was not a part of the live chat, Dave.
Oh man.
I
So
feel
let's
like
start
we're at
over.
Thanksgiving and we're
Don't.
trying to.
Doesn't it feel like that? And the grandpa just got the phone, and the grandmother.
Hey Shelby, tell us about real life loading. You already did this once.
Let's do it again. I'll do it again for real. I am happy to talk about real life floating. So, family life is spectacular in so many different ways at being able to communicate gospel truths to people. But there's a large group of people who just weren't listening. And I've been in campus ministry for 20 years, working with young people, college students. And so we wanted to take all the excellent things that family life does and push it to a younger audience, specifically 18 to 28. Once you turn 29, you're not like, excommunicated from the group.
You're not allowed in,
I've
huh?
had so many people come up to me and go, I know I'm not in the target audience, but no, it's just really great content that's tailor-made for an 18 to 28-year-old audience. And so that's in the form of a podcast called Real Life Loading that launches every Friday on podcast. And then it also airs on the weekends on the radio for grandparents and parents to be able to listen in and kind of eavesdrop on what young people are talking about. It's just gospel related stuff, it contextualized for a younger audience. So we're trying to thread the needle between great gospel content and frankly humor, entertainment. And so it's a little bit all over the place for younger people, or for older people, but for younger people, it might even be a little bit too slow. We're going to wait to hear some feedback from that. So that's what we're doing. And I've been hosting that. It launched in early September. So we've got a number of episodes under our belt already, and I've been digging it. It's been really fun.
Yeah, well, I've listened to it, and it is really great content. And like you said, it's really fun. Yeah, you got some creative juices going on in there that sort of surprise us and take us on a journey. So that's great. And hopefully that's going to just keep
Well,
growing.
Shelby, I want to know, who's been your favorite interview? You have a couple?
Well, my personal mentor is Paul David Tripp. And so we've been meeting together for almost every month for the last 7 or 8 years. And he was 2 episodes early on. That guy can connect the gospel to tissue paper. It could do it with anything. And so that was one of my favorites. I've also had just recently, the last episode aired with a young woman named Feli Velez. And she's a college student who I got to know on a summer missions trip. She came to Christ by being in quarantine, smoking weed, and watching TikTok videos. That's how she became a Christian. And so I walked her through
that's how
her
it usually
story.
happens, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
almost everybody, 90% of young people. No, it was a beautiful story of how she came to know Jesus. And that was a really fun episode as well. But we've talked to a number of different people, Sam Alberry, Rachel Gilson. I've talked to Dr. Michael Kruger, the president of RTS in Charlotte. There's an episode coming up with Jen Wilkin very soon. I've been really thrilled to be able to talk to these kind of spiritual giants and learn from them. I did a recording recently with Rebecca McLaughlin, and in the middle of the episode, I was like, you're discipling me right now. I feel like I need to go talk to my wife as soon as we're finished with this conversation. So yeah, it's just been beautiful. And I've loved being a part of something so unique where I feel like I'm benefiting personally. Surely the young people are benefiting as well.
I think it's so exciting that family life is reaching out into all phases of life and all different demographics, all different age groups. And I think it's really good that we want to meet them right where they are, every family.
Yeah.
So well done, Shelby.
Yeah, and I was
Thank
thinking, it's Giving Tuesday, and I thought of a song
Oh, of course you did.
No.
For crying out loud.
that
This wouldn't be a
crosses
family life thing
generations.
without the if you didn't have the guitar.
This crosses generations. I want to see, Shelby, if you know this song, because it came out in the 70s, but it was redone in the 90s by the Goo Goo Dolls. Came out originally. You'll never know the name of this band, Supertramp. You ever hear of them? I mean, it fits
Nope.
Giving Tuesday. You ever heard that song?
Yeah. Give it
Yeah.
a bit.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Shelby. Why are we on today, Family Life, on Giving Tuesday? We're going to tell several stories and help people understand a little bit about the breadth of our ministry. But I think it's really just an opportunity to say to people, hey, here's what God is doing through Family Life and beyond. And I know that a lot of people are asking for your dollars and your generous giving. We're just one to say, man, jump in and help us. We can take what you just said, take the gospel to marriage and family and literally change legacies. Am I right?
You're totally right. And I think the main thing that we need to really absorb here is that when Jesus, when the scriptures talk about that it's more blessed to give than to receive, we actually literally believe that. And we've seen plenty of examples of that when we give of ourselves, when we die to ourselves, when we're intentional about being others focused. Not only does it bring more joy to the people we're blessing and goodness and care and encouragement to those people, it blesses our hearts as well. And we authentically go, oh, this is what I was made for. I was made to be a part of the solution. God is using me in this process to bring life and love and the gospel, frankly, to other people. And so that's what we're about at Family Life, and that's what we want to invite others into, to be a part of the solution, as it's more blessed to give than to receive.
Yeah, it's a good word. And obviously, if you would like to jump in, right there's the link, familylife.com/givingtuesday22. You can jump in. We've got some folks that are going to join in with us. First of all, we're going to have Gayla Grace, who's with our Family Life Blended Ministry, one of our amazing ministries that works with Ron Deal. And Gayla, I don't know where you are right now. I'm guessing Little Rock, but welcome to the podcast.
Yes. Hey, guys. Thank you. Yes, I am in Little Rock. I'm in the studio here in our Blended office in Little Rock. So great to be here.
What's going on with Blended? You're sitting right where we often interview Ron.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gayla, explain what Blended is. What are you guys doing?
So Blended is all about ministering to blended families, or also called step families. And that is just simply a family who a couple marries, and one of the couples or both, brings a child from a previous relationship. So maybe there was a divorce, maybe there was a death, there was some kind of ending of a relationship before the new marriage. And so then when the couple married, they are what we call a step couple, because they have step relationships then in that family. So that's how we define a blended family or a step family.
I would guess that this time of year can be pretty complicated for step families.
It's very complicated, Ann. You are so right, because there's not only the dynamics of parenting the kids and the step kids and all of the specifics within a marriage. If there are former spouses out there, then there's kids that travel between homes, and we got to figure out what's that schedule going to look like over the holidays. And even just simple things like going to Christmas concerts, and is the ex-spouse there? And, there can just be some real awkwardness and some tension that surrounds families that are specifically step families. I mean, you think about just even in biological homes, the stress of trying to get your kids together, especially as they get older. But it just gets more complicated in step families because of specifically those when kids are living in more than one home.
Will you talk about some of the resources that you guys have available that could really help in some of those situations?
Sure. So Ron Deal and I host a podcast. We now have over 100 episodes on our podcast. And we talk about everything from the co-parenting relationship, which that has to do with that other parent that's out there in another home. We talk about the emotions that step families go through. There's oftentimes grief from the previous relationship. The kids in particular, they didn't want their parents to divorce, and so they've still got some grief that's going on. There's confusion, particularly with step parents. The role of a step parent is ambiguous. It's confusing. So we talk about all those emotions and how we navigate those emotions. And then just so many different dynamics. We try to touch on everything. Those who have been widowed and join a blended family after widowhood, those are different dynamics. And so we talk about that. But just like Shelby was saying, we've had a host of really good guests that we have enjoyed interviewing. We've gotten just nuggets of wisdom from so many different people as we interview them on the podcast. So that's out there. Then there's also a lot of articles on the Family Life website, specifically geared towards blended families. So there's some holiday articles on there talking about how do you find peace at the holidays when you're in the middle of chaos and life just doesn't feel normal. There's some articles that address that. And then we do 2 events a year. We always do an event in the fall, the Summit on Step Family Ministry, that is for ministry leaders who are ministering to step families, pastors, counselors. It's really an equipping event for those professionals who we want to help them minister to those step families in their congregation and in their community. So that's in the fall. And then in the spring, there is the Blended and Blessed, which is specifically for step couples. And that's where we have speakers come in. And we just try to pour into those step couples to help them understand their dynamics and what they can do to find success in their relationships, to build relationships, to nurture the relationships they have. And honestly, we just encourage them to keep going, because the truth is the first 5 to 7 years are really hard years. I mean, research shows it takes that long for family relationships to come together in step families. And so we want to encourage couples that it's normal to have some disharmony, and know that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means that you're trying to figure out how to bring these 2 families together into one. And so we just encourage step couples to keep moving forward, even on days that you feel like you have failed. Pick yourself up, ask God for help, and keep going. And things do get better over time. My husband and I have been married 27 years in a blended family now. And I can tell you, we see so many rewards to it. We're so thankful for where we are at today. But, you know, it came with a lot of bumps along the way. And so we want other step couples to know that is part of the journey oftentimes.
Yeah, I know that, you know, I grew up in a blended family, mostly with my single mom, but I talk about Christmas. My dad was an airline pilot, lived in Miami. We're up in Ohio, and I had to fly on Christmas Day by myself every year to Florida, which I hated leaving the snow and going to the palm trees. And I tell you what, back in those days, there was nobody on that plane. I was basically the only person there. I always sat in first class because the flight attendants felt sorry for me.
Wow.
And I flew down to see my dad on Christmas. I wanted to see my dad, but I didn't want to leave on Christmas Day.
Right.
And, you know, I'm thinking back in those days, there was nobody speaking to blended families. There was no resources. There was nobody in the church. We had no idea how to navigate the complexity of the life we're living in. So, I mean, what you guys do through Family Life it's a blessing and a gift to families. Really needed.
And the thing is, I think we don't even realize the magnitude of the number of families that are in blended families now.
Yeah.
And so that is part of what Family Life wants to reach into those homes also, not just traditional homes. We want to reach into blended family homes and help them navigate those complex dynamics so that they can find success in their relationships also. That is definitely part of it. And Dave, just like you're talking about, I would guess that you experienced some grief then. I mean, that would have been part of your holiday, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can feel it. It was emotional.
Right.
I remember many times I was a little boy, I was in tears, you know, having to leave my mom and go to my dad. And yeah. And again, there was no help for us.
And
thank you for what you do. It's a blessing.
Gayla, I remember the first time I heard that stat, if it can take up 5 to 7 years to transition. I remember telling that to so many parents, and they're like, "Oh, you mean we're normal? This is normal that we're struggling." And so I think it's just helpful to know, like, oh, other people are facing this. Here are some tools and benefits that can help your family. Thanks for all you guys are doing.
Right. And that is part of what we want people to understand. It is normal. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not some good times along the way. It doesn't mean that you can't find joy in your relationships in the middle of it while you might have a a hard day, but there are some good experiences that go on also. But I do think that it just helps to normalize the process for people that are in those situations. So, it's a joy and a privilege to minister to these families, but we can't do it without the help of our donors. And, in case those who are listening don't know, Family Life is a donor-funded ministry. And that means that we need people to come alongside us to help make an impact in the world around them. And, we just want people to consider that opportunity to contribute to our ministry, to minister to families, to do kingdom work as we minister to marriages and families in this space. And that's what Giving Tuesday is all about.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Gayla. We're gonna jump to Moses Sanchez. He's in where, I don't know where you are, Moses, but I know you're local. And a lot of people at Family Life don't even know what local is, so you get to tell us. Welcome, Moses.
Yeah, how you guys doing? How's the audio? Can you hear me? I'm afraid to talk audio when on Instagram Live, any of this stuff.
You're good, man.
You
awesome,
sound so good. Your voice, man, it's like a podcast voice.
Oh, is that right? Well, maybe I should be part of the Real Life Loading podcast. I'm just joking. But hey, listen, man.
Are you over 29?
So don't do that.
I am over 29, so I guess I'm out of it, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm part of local at Family Life, and I actually joined Family Life in 2020 with Marilette, my wife. She's actually home with our kids right now. We homeschool, but we're in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, about 130,000 people in the neighborhood that we live in, very small area. A lot of people living on top of each other. But man, when we made this transition over to Family Life Local, we were very much all about, hey, how do we move where God's already working in this community? Collaboration is a big, part of how I'm wired. And so definitely key to collaborate and work closely with the local church. And I know that's kind of your heart, Dave and Ann. You guys were, pastors, and you were led a church for years. And so you guys, are right down that path as well. But yeah, when I think about just what we're doing in New York and just that idea of collaboration, one of the things that we've done recently is we've worked closely with our local church, and we've brought one of our programs to the actual park to do ministry at the actual park. And what's been exciting about that is just this idea of we want to be where people are at, right? People are not often just going to jump into a church. So we go where people are at, and to be in proximity to people. I say that all the time. We want to be in proximity to people. There's a quote that I love to say that, without contact, there can be no impact. Right. And so we want to be in connection. We want to make contact with the people. And so we brought this program out to the park every Wednesday. And then I remember one Wednesday,
Hey, Moses, real quick.
Yeah.
Can we pause? We can't hear you on Instagram. So is there a mute button that you're on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I unmuted that.
You're good now. I think.
All right, we're good now?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah,
all right, so Shelby,
I want to hear the story.
Same issue, man. So anyway, as I was saying, this idea of being in proximity, making contact with people so that we can see an impact. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were at a park, and there was this family that had arrived to the park, and one of our team members was speaking to this family, speaking to the single mother. And I noticed from afar that he was speaking to her, so I didn't step into the situation. I never saw her at the park. I never saw her in the neighborhood. But later on that evening, we actually invited some of the families out to the church just to have some coffee, to have some pastries, just to hang out. And I was able to connect with that mother later on that night. And as I'm speaking to this mother, she said there was something about your guys' group that was kind of pulling me to go into that park that afternoon. She goes, there was something just kind of drawing me to that park. And as I went to that park, I saw what you guys were doing. My daughter was having an amazing time connecting with other children. And then later that night, when you guys invited us to the church, I decided to go. And when I walked into the church, and when I walked into the kitchen, and I smelled the Bustelo, right? That's the Puerto Rican Spanish coffee. When I smelled that coffee, it just brought me back to my own home. And then I saw a pastry that you guys were serving that evening. And it was the same pastry that my father loved. And you didn't know this, but that week was his anniversary, the death of his anniversary. And so she was able to come. I mean, she's sharing these things and she's crying as she's sharing this. And I'm just there listening and just saying, God, you're great. Look what you do. You go ahead of us, right? We're faithful to go where families are at. We're faithful to be in proximity. We're faithful to make contact. And you're the one bringing families to us. And I think 2 weeks ago, this mom, I was speaking to her and she go, listen, man, I want to know more about the Bible. I have all these questions. I want to learn. And she's like, hey, can we do like a little study together with our families? And so in next week, next Thursday, we're actually going to be starting a small group with a few families, and she's going to be part of that. And so again, it's just a testimony when we're faithful to go out to connect with people, when we're faithful to be in proximity, when we're faithful to connect with families who may be far from God and far from the church. God goes ahead of us and God moves. And so that's the story from my little part of Brooklyn, New York.
I love that you're like not only in being intentional to invite people to your place where you guys are located, but you are being intentional to go where they are as well.
Yeah.
And that reflects like the ministry of Jesus himself.
For
He
sure.
brought people in, but he also went out all the time. I love that you're doing that. And that's what Family Life Local is all about.
And I'm
It
guessing
is,
a
man.
lot of people don't even know that is a part of family life, that we have a
Yeah.
local ministry that is out trying to impact homes in their neighborhood.
Mm,
That a great story, Moses.
yeah,
That's
it
so
is.
good.
It's all glory to God, man. Praise God. So
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I mean, the
Moses.
truth is, Moses, as you said, as a pastor for 30 years, we knew not everybody's going to come to the building, come to where we are. If we're not on the streets, we're not going to reach people. And
Yeah.
Family Life, same thing. I mean, we have conferences, we have resources. Some people are never going to come to those. So, man, we have foot soldiers like you and thousands of others literally in the neighborhoods where people live. Like Shelby said, it sort of sounds like Jesus.
yeah, it is. That's right.
That's really sweet.
That's
Really
cool. All right. Thank you, Moses. We're going to jump.
Thanks, bro.
Who we got next? We got Darren and Vivian Mubuni, who are Weekend to Remember speakers, joining us from, I don't know where you guys are joining us from. Where are you?
Gosh, where are we? We are in Mission Viejo, California. Sometimes
Oh.
it feels like we're just in a different state at times. Well, I guess we are at times. So
Yeah, Southern California.
Yeah, well, we're in Michigan. It's probably a little colder here.
I
Shelby's
know,
in
I'm-
just a
Pennsylvania.
little bit.
I'm wearing my shacket, just to be
Aw,
Ah,
so
solidarity.
cute.
Yeah,
So
it's probably
cute.
70
It's 32
degrees there.
degrees here. It's
Okay.
32 here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's-
Maybe
we won't
it
say
is.
anything about the palm trees outside at 70, but yeah, I'm still wearing a shacket.
Thank you. How kind of you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Weekend to Remember. Ann and I have been speakers for, we're not going to tell you how many years.
33
You didn't have to say that.
years.
How many years have you guys been speaking?
How many years?
Much less than 33.
Yeah, yes.
We're kind of grateful that we didn't start off that long. So we've been married 31 years and we're newer to the speaker team. So we are with Moses and Marilette in their class and
Oh,
we
great.
love them. So yeah. it's
Well, we've done it
really
so
fun.
long. When we joined, there was no speaker training. There was a manual,
Yeah.
and they said, "Go do it."
Just get up there.
It's a lot
Yeah.
better now. In fact, we just did San Antonio 2 weekends ago, and it was just incredible.
Oh, so fun.
Tell us what's
Yeah.
going on in the Weekend to Remember Marriage Getaway.
Oh, gosh. In fact, we just got back from Idaho.
From Coeur d'Alene,
From
Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene. Had a
Mm.
blast.
That was beautiful,
Yeah.
wonderful time.
But I think, when we're thinking about it, I think one of the more memorable times we were in Albuquerque. And what happened was it was Friday night. Even before we got up, we were just in the back of the auditorium. Woman came up to us totally excited. And she began to talk about the Weekend to Remember, thanking us about the Weekend to Remember. And I just remember thinking to myself, I have never met her. I don't know who she is.
Yep. And we hadn't even gotten up to speak yet. And she was saying, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And went on to share her story. And it turned out that she, 5 years before, had heard about Weekend to Remember. Her marriage was at a really rough place. Her husband was unwilling to attend. So she went by herself. She cried through all the sessions, went back. And then the next year, the husband came and left after the first Friday night session. And then she stayed and she cried through the rest of the sessions. The third year, they both came, they both stayed, and they fought through the entire weekend. But at the end of the weekend, they said, you know what? our marriage is not what it could be. So let's put into practice these things that we've been learning. Let's do the work. So they got into therapy, individual marriage counseling. They got into a small group. And then the 4th year they came and they said it was completely different. And then she said, this year we brought other married couples with us. So thank you so much. And so Darren and I are all choked up in the back. It was just like,
that was amazing.
wow, this is what can happen at a weekend to remember.
Just amazing. So really, really excited. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We had that happen in when we were in San Antonio a couple weeks ago. A guy stood up and said, the only reason we came to this conference was because we already had our appointment with our lawyer to go through the divorce. But we thought, okay, somebody said to do this, we'll give it one last shot. And so he said, we are not going to that appointment with our lawyer. We are going to put our marriage on the foundation of Jesus Christ. And we are going to make this thing work as we seek Jesus, seek the gospel, and impact our home for Christ. And we need to live this out. And we probably have so many of those stories of the way the Weekend to Remember Marriage Conference has impacted couples.
Yeah,
It's pretty
amazing.
It's incredible. And I think too, when I talk with the Family Life staff, they have those stories as well.
Yeah.
And it's just so inspiring to us. We just can't get it. We can't get over it. It's such an amazing opportunity and experience.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of us, even as speakers, realize, on any given weekend in the fall and the spring, there's 7 or 8 of these going on around the country. When we were in San Antonio, there were 7 others literally at the same moment, same material, same gospels being presented to hundreds and thousands of couples, and God's working in unique ways to change not only marriage, but as that marriage gets changed, it changes their children and their children's children.
Yeah.
It's a powerful, powerful ministry. In fact, that was our first exposure to Family Life, was as an engaged couple going to the Weekend to Remember in Chicago.
Yeah, and it's really cool too, because the gospel's presented. Walking in the power of the Holy Spirit is presented. So you have people giving their lives to Jesus and hundreds of people recommitting their lives to Jesus. And so there's so much power in that weekend. And thanks, you guys, for what you're doing. And I love that Family Life is committed to this and committed to marriages.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is, as we ask people, we find out how many people it's their first time. And that's exciting. And I love that. And you said it too, Dave, the legacy. It's not just about this generation, but generations to come. So that gets us excited and still hopeful for even our kids and future grandkids, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so forth.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things Family Life is most known for is the Weekend to Remember, the marriage getaway.
Yeah, I didn't know about Family Life at all. I didn't know that Weekend to Remember was Family Life for years. And I was on staff with the campus ministry of Crew.
Really?
Yeah, I knew that what Weekend to Remember was, and I knew what Family Life was. I didn't know that they were together, but I was introduced to the Weekend to Remember first before Family Life. I knew about that first before I knew about Family Life. So it's a tremendous ministry that affects thousands and thousands of lives all over the place. And who cares what name is ascribed to it? I like flying under the radar. I think it's great.
Yeah, you're right, Shelby.
All right, go back to California. Go back to the sunshine. Thanks for being with us.
There already.
Thanks for having us.
Good being with you guys.
Great seeing
Great to have you.
guys.
Rebecca Granville.
Rebecca's
She
next.
is jumping on with us. She is with our donor team, our resources team, and
And I can
she's
tell you
smiling.
where she is. She's not far from me, actually, here in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
close?
I'm about, what did we figure? Like hour and 20 minutes, something like that?
Yeah. Hour 15. Yep.
Yep.
Not far
I'm
away.
right down the road. So it is also 32 degrees here. So.
It was this morning. It's warmed up now.
Has it? I haven't
It's
been
better
back
now.
outside, so I wouldn't
We're all
go
trapped
there.
in our basements.
So what's going on, Rebecca?
Well, I've been asked to talk to all of our listeners today about our resources. And as the three of you guys know, we have a plethora of resources here at Family Life. We have small groups, we've got books, we have downloads, we have a few podcasts that I may have heard of once or twice. We have our radio show. We have lots and lots of ways for people to get involved and to partner with us at Family Life. My job here at Family Life is I manage our recurring giving program. So that's everybody who signs up to partner with us and take on the journey of our ministry. So within that partnership, you get tons of extra bonus material. You get live events with the three guys above me on the screen here. You get access to all sorts of resources and information. So here on Giving Tuesday, this is the day that we ask people to join us. Sign up to be a monthly partner, not just because you get all of the resources and all of the connections, but sign up to be a monthly partner because you want reminders of how to get closer to Christ in your walk with your family. So we're really looking for people to partner with us and sign up. Every page on our website has a way for you to connect with the Family Life Partner Program. We have tons of resources and you guys get lots of interaction with that. We also have small groups. I have some comments from some of our partners right here who have gotten resources that have affected their lives and affected their families. So I'm going to read you one of these comments. This gentleman said, "Well, I'll just say this. I praise the Lord for his goodness and grace. My son and I completed our weekend passport to purity a few weeks ago. We had such a great time. Praise the Lord, I wasn't too late in getting to him with the information. He's 15, but he's fortunately been shielded from so much of the evil that's in the world. I was able to discuss the heavy subjects with him for the first time, and it was the first time him ever hearing these things. I bought the P2 course for both my son and daughter, and I look forward to great weekends with them. Thank you for your wonderful ministry, Brent."
Cool.
These are great resources and they're all connected. Shelby just mentioned that, sometimes people go no weekend to remember and they hear Family Life Today or Real Life Floating, but they don't realize that it's all connected to the same ministry. So that's why we're asking people to really partner with us and see all that the ministry has to offer. I'm hearing some echoing somewhere in there. I think that might be in our Lakehart office there.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't always understand is how much money it costs to create these resources. Really, I mean, when we made our Vertical Marriage small group or No Perfect Parents or The Art of Marriage, you name it, I was astounded what it cost to shoot a video, to get a production crew in there. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. What we do at Family Life Today, we have cameras in the studio, 8 of them, ready to go. And we need to raise money to be able to get a production video producer to put us on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube. We're on YouTube, but every show could be on there. So talk about that a little bit, because when people give today, they can help create more resources, right?
Absolutely. We have resources that were made 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They need to be updated. We need to have the resources to fund our amazingly talented authors, some of them who may be on the screen now. But we need people to update our resources. We need to be able to stay on the cutting edge of these things and be able to go live on Insta and live on YouTube and live on Facebook as we are right now. But that takes technology and that takes funds. So we need everyone who wants to partner with our ministry to remember those things. 2 Corinthians 9:10, he who supplies seeds to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. We have to sow those seeds. And that's what we need our financial partnership for. That's why we're here on Giving Tuesday. That's why we're asking for those help. I have another comment here from somebody who received one of our newer resources. She says, "Well, I'll just say this. I teach Sunday school in the afternoon at a Chinese American church in Atlanta. Normally, I only have the pastor's children who are quite young, 6 and 4 years old. I was teaching them for a couple of years, but because it was Easter, I found your resource for an egg hunt. And I ordered your resurrection eggs from Family Life because I thought that they were such a great tool to help kids understand and tactically remember what actually happens in the days leading up to Easter. So I had different children read the scriptures, passed all the little pieces around the table so that they could look at them and feel and ask questions. I'm sure that some of them had been exposed to the scriptures before and the real life story of Jesus, but this was a tactical way for them to see it. So the resurrection eggs were extremely helpful, and reading the commentary opened their eyes. I asked all of them if they would like to pray. I asked them if they had a personal relationship with Jesus. I asked them if they wanted God to be in their life. 3 of the extra kids that were there for Easter and I had not seen before raised their hands.
That's so sweet.
I admit I was surprised, not only because I didn't know all of them very well, but particularly because they are from a culture where it would not be normal for them to raise their hand or ask a question. These Chinese children that I teach are very bright and well-mannered and delightful, and it warms my heart to know that I helped lead them through Jesus. There are so many kids that may not have raised their hand, but God only knows what they were raised in their heart. Thank you for taking the time to send such a warm welcome note to us and such a great tool. My children have loved Family Life for a very long time, and so do I. God be near you, from Keller.
That's cool.
There are numerous comments we get every day from people who listen to Family Life Today, and it touches their hearts. We've got comments from people listening to our newer podcasts and Family Life Blended. There are an abundance of downloadable resources. If you type in familylife.com/bonus, you can download devotionals for your family, devotionals on racial reconciliation. We have Growing Together as a 4-week Devo that is focused on gratitude that you can do with your family. We have the Smart Step Family. It's a 2-week devotional that works with our blended families, and even a very blended Christmas. There are plenty of free downloadable resources through our website. Plus, you can create even a bigger impact by downloading and signing up for one of our small groups, which are amazing to do in your community and reach out to the people who need those things. So please take a minute today, go to our website, take a look at some of the resources that are available, listen to Dave and Ann, listen to Shelby and Ron, and you can hear all of the life-changing stories that are available there on our website.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks for all
Thanks,
you do
Rebecca.
too. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to talk about the Love Like You Mean It cruise with Tanya Santiago and Shelby. I don't know. Have you ever been on the Love Like You Mean It cruise?
I went on the Love Like You Mean It cruise as a worker last
What?
February for the first time. Yeah, I went and worked as an assistant to all the talent who was there. So I helped get
Shelby
water
was
and
terrific.
coffee for people for a week. But I was on a boat in the South in February. So I was good. I was fine.
You're all good.
Yeah.
Tanya, welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for all
guys.
you do too. Let's talk about the cruise.
So yeah, the cruise, normally we charter a ship every February, and we've been doing this since 2011. This last year of 2022, we were able to have about 2,000 or so people with us. In 2020, we had about 5,000, and that was just fantastic. But this year in particular, after COVID and all of that craziness, we had so many couples who joined us that were just in difficult places. And there's this one couple in particular who came up to Carlos and I, my husband, when we were cleaning up already on Friday night, and just shared with us how they've been married for 37 years, but things weren't going so great for them. They felt more like roommates than they did a married couple. Things were very stale, and they just didn't know how to have fun together anymore. And so they came on the ship with us, fully chartered, and we have our own entertainment and our own speakers. And they attended all of the activities, all the main sessions, all the learning sessions that we had in the breakouts. And at the end of the week, they shared with us how God really met them where they were.
It's interesting.
And how.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, so they continued on their story and just sharing with us how impactful it was and how many tools they were able to take home with them. They have 6 grown children and multiple grandchildren. And they didn't want their family to see them as an unhappy married couple. And so the husband shared with us how his parents had been divorced, and the wife, her parents were still married, but how they didn't want the next generations to see them in that state. They wanted to project marriage as a positive and good thing. And so they decided on the ship to sign up all their kids for a weekend to remember, so that they can learn the tools to not have a roommate marriage, and for the legacy of their family to be changed for future generations as well.
Yeah, I know that the first time we were on the boat, we were asked to speak on marriage. And I didn't tell Bob Lepine this when he asked us, but I'm like, I'm not a cruise guy. I don't like cruises. I'd rather be at a resort.
Well,
but
even
hey,
if you are on a cruise, you're like, this sounds terrible. We want to be in the sun. We want to be having fun. We don't want to be in conferences.
But we said yes because it was free for us. So we're like, let's go. And I got to be honest. I thought, we're just going to endure this week. I'm telling you what, we've done like 7 or 8 of them now.
It's amazing.
They are really well done.
And fun.
Not only are you having fun because you're sort of on a vacation, but you're focusing on your marriage. And like you said, you've got music going on at night. You've got comedians. You've got illusionists. Yes. You've got talks on marriage at night. You've got workshops on parent. You name it.
And you're still getting off on
ports,
yeah. You're sightseeing, you're touring, so all of that's in it as well.
So no wonder it sells out every year. The only time it hasn't is during COVID, and hopefully when we get back on the boat, it'll sell out again. But yeah, it's a great week. It really is.
Sure, and that's exactly right. That's the purpose of having an event like the cruise, is to get couples to grow closer to each other, but grow closer to God in the process as well. And so just the impact of that week just changes legacies for so many generations to come. And it also, the couples who do attend then are so eager to go back home and share what they learned in the communities that they are in and in their circles. So that's really a lot of fun to see.
So tell us what's happening this year, because I know in 2024,
you're not on the water anymore. Yeah,
we're back on the boat in 2024, but 23 in a couple months. What's happening?
Yeah, so we're pretty excited to share a new event. So this is going to be a one-time land-based resort event up in Destin, Florida. So we'll be at the Hilton Sandestin in Miramar Beach, and that will be a week-long event that will feature Ron and Nan Deal presenting Empowered to Love, and it's a teaching opportunity for us to learn how to love, how to be empowered to love through the humility of Christ. And so we're pretty excited about that. And just like the cruise, we're going to bring our speakers. The Mabunis will be with us just as one of the featured speakers, but we're also going to have comedians. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have, let me put it this way, there are going to be some things that are going to happen involving fire that we can't normally on the ship. And so we're pretty excited about those new surprises that we will have on there. So that's part of Empowered to Love.
I don't know if you cut out with everybody, but you cut out when you were saying the surprises. So what are they?
Well,
I mean, I know you can't tell us, but you can tease us.
Well, one of the surprises involves fire. So we can't have fire on a ship. So we will have fire. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Well, hot,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Hot.
Hot. Super hot.
All right. So if somebody wants to sign up, is there still openings they can sign up? FamilyLife.com?
We actually have five rooms left. So if you want to sign up, please do so quickly. You can go to lovelikeyoumeanitcruise.com/empowered to love, and you can get all the information there.
5 rooms. Man, you
5.
better go quick.
5 is all that's left. It makes a great Christmas gift. And it's actually a 2-for-1 because you give it to your spouse as a Christmas gift. And then there you have your Valentine's as well.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Well, we will be on the boat with you in 2024. We're looking forward to that. But I would just say this. If you haven't heard Ron and Nan talk about what God's doing in their life, what he's been doing in their relationship, which is, part of what they're going to talk about at the land cruise, you want to get one of those rooms right now. It will change
Absolutely.
your life.
Yeah, and they really do share so much of their story and what has been happening through the Empower to Love series. And so it's a great opportunity.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Shelby, let's
Yo.
wrap up. We're right around 1 o'clock. It's
Let's
been
do
an
it.
amazing hour hearing all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, this has been encouraging to be with you all for the last hour. Family Life is only able to create the type of events and resources that you heard about if you've been with us for the last hour or so through the generosity of people just like you. A lot of times we think of, the donors, they're like this other group of people, but no, it's people just like you. So we're unapologetically asking that you would join us in reaching families, marriages, parents, the next generation, every corner of the world. And a gift of only like $5 can make an impact. And so the cool thing about what's going on right now is that every gift that is made today will be doubled by another donor and will be matched dollar for dollar. So if you do give $10, you're actually giving $20. If you give $100, you're actually giving $200. You guys can do the math on this. It's not super hard. So if you'd like to give, you can look at the bottom of the screen here on YouTube and Facebook. It's FamilyLife.com/GivingTuesday22. So we're also going to put it here on Instagram chat as well. It's FamilyLife.com/GivingTuesday22. And again, every dollar that you give will be doubled dollar for dollar. And so it's just a super exciting opportunity. That doesn't happen very often. When you give to your church, which you should be doing, it's not matched, but that's the uniqueness of what's happening here at Family Life with this special opportunity to be able to give. So we'd love for you to join us, to partner with us, to help create these resources, to be a part of the solution of taking the gospel, not only to marriages and families, which of course is what we're doing, but we're extending that reach to the world, to the younger generation, to everyone, because Jesus is worth it.
Yeah, that's a great close. I would just add, from our perspective, I don't think a lot of people even know that Family Life is a donor-supported ministry. We have thousands of partners around the world who not only have been impacted by Family Life, but know that the family and marriage is at the center of our culture. I mean, it is, I think, the foundation of our future. And so that's why we without apology say, jump in, man, join us. Whether it's $5 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever God has enabled you to be able to do, this is a partnership that is literally life-changing, not just here, but in eternity. Because it isn't just about marriage and family. It's about Jesus being in the center of a marriage and a family. We take the gospel, it is the center of everything we do, whether it's the Weekend to Remember, our resources, our conferences, you name it, the Love Like You Mean It cruise, the Real Life Loading, Family Life Today, Real Life Blended, Family Life Blended. Everything is centered on Jesus Christ being the answer that we're all looking for. And so when you support Family Life, you are helping Jesus become a part of families that will literally change them and change their legacy, and will change their neighborhoods and change the world. So,
and I think more than ever, we're in a culture, people are sad, they're feeling hopeless, we're filled with anxiety and depression. I was at an event last night where the conversation started like this almost every time. My marriage, is struggling. My kids are struggling. And so we want to bring this hope of Jesus into our homes and help, just practical tools of how we can help you have a better marriage, feel like your family is together, whether it's blended or it's not. It's like, we want to be there for you. And some of you feel like, hey, we're doing great, but we want to help some other families. This would be a great way to do that.
Yeah. If God has blessed you, you can be a blessing to others. You want to close in prayer?
Yeah, I will. Love to.
Yeah.
Father, thank you. Thank you for this team at Family Life, for how you're using them. Pray that you would continue to do that. And Lord, I just pray even for our listeners, for our donors, for those that are thinking about, like, do I want to do this? I just pray blessing over them, Jesus. It's easy to get lost in this season of Christmas with just the marketing craziness of this culture. But Lord, you are the reason. We love you. We need you. You are the one that brings hope and help to our families on every corner throughout the world. And so, Father, may we reach the globe with your gospel. May we bring help to them with the hope that you've given us. And Lord, I pray for those that are just in turmoil or just feeling lost and alone. I pray that you would be their helper, that you would be their hope, that you would be the one that they could hear you whispering your love for them. You see them, you care about them, you love them. And Lord, I'm thinking about families right now. It can be a hard time of year too, especially if we feel like our kids have pulled away or family relationships are strained and marriages are strained. I pray that you would enter into those spaces and we would call on you, Lord, for healing in all of that. We need you and we love you, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thanks,
Shelby,
you
want
guys.
me to do another song, or do you want to just say goodbye?
I'm good. Yeah, I really appreciate
I'm
the
good,
offer,
Shelby.
but, yeah,
I think
fine.
everybody's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Hey, Shelby, great to be with you. And
too,
we're
guys.
signing off from Family Life.
Bye.
See ya.